The Dodgers have made another move. Stop me if you've heard that before. They just traded away their #2 overall prospect, Michael Busch, who absolutely rakes in the minors. He was given to the Cubs, and you're thinking to yourself, okay, well, if the #2 overall prospect for the Dodgers just got traded to the Cubs, maybe someone like Christopher Morel or a Patrick Wisdom is going back to the Dodgers. No, this is a weird trade, so we got to break it down. Actually, real quick before we do that, I do have an update on the other brand new Cubs player, Shota Imanaga. Yesterday, I said that he signed a 2-year contract with about $30 million. It can get up to $80 million, but the full details are right now on paper. Shota has a 4-year contract worth $53 million, and if he goes to 5 years and accomplishes a lot of incentives, it can get all the way up to $80 million. So Shota, he is not in the Michael Busch trade like a lot of people expected. They were saying, like, hey, if we don't know the names of the trade, Michael Busch, the #2 overall prospect, it's got to be Shota. No, it's some other guys. Also, real quick, I just wanted to make sure that you guys knew that the Marlins, they hired Rachel Balkovec as the farm director. She is in charge of player development for the Marlins. This is really cool. All right, so let's go ahead and talk about this breaking trade with the Dodgers #2 overall prospect, Michael Busch, and also a reliever, Yency Almonte, going to the Cubs. And again, you're probably thinking, Michael Busch, he rakes. He's the #2 overall prospect for the Dodgers. They got to get something big in return. The Dodgers picked up 2 teenagers, Jackson Ferris, who is a lefty starting pitcher, so they could have a Ferris Bueller rotation over the next few years if Walker Buehler comes back healthy. They also picked up Zyhir Hope, who is turning 19 years old just a few days after Jackson Ferris is turning 20-year-old. So yeah, they got some teenagers in return for one of their better prospects. So before we break down Jackson Ferris and Zyhir Hope, let's talk about what the Cubs are getting, and that is bona fide stud, at least if we're talking about AAA stud, Michael Busch. This guy just turned 26 years old. He has been a top 100 prospect the last 3 seasons. He was 87th in 2021, 76th in 2022, and 54th last year heading into 2023. And this dude in AAA, I know they play at a borderline cheat code ballpark, but in 98 games, Michael Busch hit 27 home runs, had 90 RBIs in 98 games while hitting .323 with a 1049 OPS. Now, this kind of reminds me of Gavin Lux back in the day, because Gavin Lux, he was one of the better AAA players we've ever seen, and that's in large part because the ballpark that they play him, it's basically a mini course field. It's a launching pad, so their offensive stats are always going to be a little bit exaggerated, but Michael Busch, he's got the exit velocities. He cut down the strikeouts last year as well, 88 strikeouts and 390 at-bats. He also took 65 walks in 98 games, so across the board, Michael Busch was one of the best, if not the best AAA hitter last year. And if we talk about his entire minor league career, in AA, in 138 games, he had a 921 OPS. He goes to AAA in 209 games. He's got 48 home runs and a combined 930 OPS while hitting 293. So this kind of reminds me of the trade that the Dodgers made back in the day when they gave away Yordan Alvarez. I'm not saying that Michael Busch is Yordan Alvarez, but that's what the Dodgers do. They can find guys like Yordan Alvarez, Michael Busch. Again, I'm not saying that Busch is going to be the next Alvarez, but they can move on from these guys because they're going to replace them and win 110 games almost every single year. So the big fish in this trade, Michael Busch, he is going to the Cubs. Now, what does that mean for a guy like Patrick Wisdom? Patrick Wisdom, he's 32 going on 33 years old. He has absolutely fallen off a cliff defensively. He had -8 outs above average at the hot corner. Now, the one thing that Patrick Wisdom does really well is not only strike out at an elite clip, but when he makes contact, covers get ripped off of baseballs. He's one of the best in the business at hitting baseballs hard. So is he going to get replaced by Michael Busch? I have no idea, but one other thing we have to mention, because the Dodgers traded away Michael Busch and Yency Almonte, that opened up 2 roster spots. One of them is going to be filled by Teoscar Hernández. Who's the other one going to be filled by? Are they about to make another trade? Yency Almonte is the other guy going to the Cubs along with Michael Busch. So Yency, he was not good in 2023, but he was pretty good in 2022 with a 1.02 ERA in 33 games. He stunk in 2021. He was very good in 2020. He stunk in 2019. He was very good as a rookie in 2018. So the trend has been Yency is good, then bad. Good, then bad. Good, then bad. So if the trend continues, Yency Almonte is about to be one of the best relief pitchers in the National League for the Cubs, and he's got some decent strikeout stuff. The last time that we saw him pitch in 2023, he struck out 3 in an inning and 2/3 against the Rockies, his former team, so he does have decent stuff. 2022 was easily his best stint in the big leagues. In 35 innings, he only allowed 4 earned runs. That is a 1.02 ERA, so he can be nasty. It's just he's not very good when he's allowing a lot of walks. So like we mentioned, the Dodgers, they traded away Michael Busch and Yency Almonte for 2 teenagers. If you watch this in a few weeks, Jackson Ferris is no longer going to be 19 years old, but he's 6'4". This dude has a very high ceiling. In single A last year at 19 years old, he put up a 3.3 ERA. He also had a 12.4 strikeouts per 9 with a minuscule 5.6 hits per 9 with an even tinier 0.2 home runs per 9. So he misses a lot of bats, but he also misses the zone quite often as well. In 18 starts, he walked a whopping 33 guys. That is a 5.5 walks per 9. That is not going to cut it at the big league level unless the Dodgers somehow can turn Jackson Ferris into the next Blake Snell or Nolan Ryan, because those two guys, they were so good because even though they allowed a lot of free base runners via the walk, they were so disgusting. They could get a strikeout and then turn a double play. So even though they walked a few guys, they almost never allowed runs. Maybe Jackson Ferris is going to be that type of player. I have no idea because he's walking a lot of guys, but he's also extremely nasty. Zyhir Hope, he is turning 19 years old on January 19th. That is the same birthday as my younger brother, go figure. But this kid in rookie ball, he only played in 11 games. He had 3 home runs and 3 stolen bases with a 419 on base percentage. Now, the one thing I want to keep in mind, yes, he raked, but also he had 13 strikeouts and 35 at-bats. That is a high strikeout percentage for a guy who was in rookie ball. He was drafted in the 11th round, so he's very much a project. He was drafted out of high school, so he's going to be someone that the Dodgers develop over time. He's so young. We might not even hear about this kid for another 4 or 5 years, but he's got all of the tools. That's the best way to describe this trade. Pretty much everyone in this trade is toolsy enough to make a difference at the big league level. So in terms of the prospects that the Dodgers got, we might not see them for the next 3 or 4 years. The Cubs, they have some room to work with in terms of Michael Busch, and they're definitely going to use Yency Almonte in that bullpen because Adbert Alzolay, he was one of the better relief pitchers in baseball to end the season. Almonte, he is nothing but a depth piece. So what do you guys make of this trade? The Cubs are getting stud minor league hitter Michael Busch and also Yency Almonte. He's going into a year in which he sucked last year, so the trend continues. He should be good in 2024. The Dodgers, they're getting 2 teenagers as of right now, Zyhir Hope and Jackson Ferris. So again, if Jackson Ferris makes the big leagues one day, they will have a Ferris Bueller in the rotation, which is kind of funny. Now, before we skedaddle and end today's recap, I want to show you guys the top 10 catchers right now according to MLB Network. What are we doing? Alejandro Kirk is the 7th ranked catcher in baseball, and Jonah Heim has been completely left off the list. I would make the argument that Alejandro Kirk isn't even the best catcher on his own team. I would say that Danny Jansen is better. I mean, they traded away Gabriel Moreno, so obviously they wanted to make room for Kirk and Jansen, but having Kirk in the top 7 where Jonah Heim is nowhere to be found, what about a guy like Bo Naylor, who was one of the best catchers in baseball to end the season? I know he was a rookie, only played in 67 games, but if this is the top 10 catchers, I don't want to see the other top 10 positions. This is crazy. So that does it for today's recap. If you watched all the way until the end, I just want to say thank you for your support. Do me a quick favor, leave a like, and also if you're brand new or have not hit that subscribe button yet, today's the day. Hit that subscribe button, stay safe, and I'll catch you in the next one.